Channel. If you are new here, I am Disco Kitty the Crappy Crafter. Today we're going to be playing with Airdry clay again, but this time we're gonna try playing with it in some molds. So I have myself a variety of molds to try it out with, and so that the basis is, you know, you get the air dry clay, you put it in, you smoosh it into the mold, and then you put it into the freezer for a couple of hours, and then you take it out of the mold, and then you let it dry on its own. Once it's already, you know, it will thaw and dry at the same time. So, yeah, I mean, pretty straightforward. Probably gonna be a short video. That's alright. Let's just get right into it. Okay, so today we're going to be working with 3 different air dry clays. It's the stuff that I got from the Dollar General and 2 things that I got from Amazon. All the links will be down below. Gonna just smoosh them in and pull out the excess, you know, swipe off the excess. You can also smoosh in little tiny pieces at a time and then swipe off the excess again. And I did such a good job of keeping it in frame, didn't I? I did. And I decided I wanted a 2-tone thing, and that's not going to work out quite as well as I was hoping. But he's going to have some nice little black booties, so that's okay. He's got black booties. Maybe they're cowboy boots. So this one I also decided to do like a twisty 2-tone thing, and you're not going to be able to tell because it's a piece symbol, kind of. You're not going to be able to really see it though because of the color shift. So that first stuff, that stuff was the stuff that I got from the Dollar General, and it's called Make Shop. This stuff is the stuff that's in the box, and it's DrawdArt. I don't know if it's DrawdArt, I don't know. But, you know, I really like this stuff. It comes in 36 colors. It's actually really, really nice. It dries out. You know, they're all a little bit dried out, but this stuff is from the Dollar General again. And this is the DrawdArt. And these are still the DrawdArt. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. It really, really is. And it's so simple. So simple. You just take some air dry clay and you smoosh the hell out of it to get it in there. This stuff is the CuteDeer that I got from Amazon. If you can see the bottom, you always want to try to check to make sure there aren't any wrinkles or bubbles. Now, this has been in the freezer for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, because what I did was I took it downstairs and then I made lunch. And I did have a timer going for a minimum of an hour. I wanted it to be in there for a minimum of an hour. Not necessarily exactly an hour, but look at how well that works. Look at how well that works. They just pop right out. It is so simple, and I love it. The problem is, and we're going to start seeing it real soon, is that keep in mind that this is like on a ×2. So I'm really going half as slow as this. So things are going to start thawing right here. Yeah, it's getting a little bit harder to pull stuff out now, and that's all right. That's okay. This arm was really hard to pull out because it had basically thawed. But we got it. We got it. And I should note that one of these little tiny ones here, I did actually put some, you know, just a little bit of white air dry clay in one of these, and I let it sit overnight, possibly longer, I don't remember. Oh, look at this. They're still wet and I'm putting them together like this. Oh, they're all gonna stick together. Oh, all gonna stick together. Anyways, back to my story. So, yes, it did. A little tiny piece like this did dry overnight and I was able to take it out of the mold. But I did it with a bigger one previously, which is why I wanted to try this, because I did put air dry clay in a big mold like this one. Not this one, but like this one. And it did not cure overnight or like over the course of a week. It didn't work. Did not work. And you definitely have to let them cure, because if you don't, they're just gonna, yeah, it's just not gonna work. Not gonna work. And that's okay. I even get a brand new fresh piece of clay that hasn't been out and used yet, and go figure, right? It's soft, it's pliable, mainly soft and pliable. I mean, look at how nice and soft and pliable that is. Look at that. So yeah, I let that sit overnight, and it did pop out the next day, like at least 18 hours later, at least. This one though, because it doesn't have any real internal texture to it, doesn't have anything to grab it, I was able to pop that one right out. Now, these have sat for a couple of hours, and why do I even try? Okay, let's move on. Moving on. Okay, there we go. We're trimming them. So I thought that the cuticle snips were gonna work, but they don't, because this stuff is just a little bit too soft for the cuticle snips to go snip. They really liked these tiny scissors that I use, which are also for nails and stuff like that. So they're super sharp and super tiny, and they work really, really well. This is not the one that I let sit overnight. This is the one that I let sit for like 2 hours, same as everything else, and it formed a skin, but it just wasn't quite enough. Well, that worked out pretty well, actually. It worked pretty well. So this was the most complicated, kind of. It was the biggest piece that I did. It's supposed to be a little crystal cluster. And while it definitely did not pick up any of the nice shininess from the mold like resin would, I mean, it kind of gets the point across. It looks more like rocks than crystals, but you know what? That's okay. I mean, crystals are rocks, but you know what I mean. Not pointies. But, so it's been a couple of hours, so it's still technically squishy. It has a very heavy skin on it, but it's not completely cured yet. But with the skin on it already, I don't think it's gonna lose any more details. It has lost a little bit. They're not as sharp, they're a little bit more rounded than they were. But, I mean, I think it worked really, really well. You gotta be quick though, because you might have noticed when I started to take these little guys out, they were starting to get a little squishy. So if you're doing something thin, or if you're doing something that has a lot of texture, look at all that texture. That worked so well with the roses. Oh my goodness, just look at how good it worked with these roses. Look at that. Absolutely amazing, but you gotta be quick, because while it is technically, I think it's technically water-based, although it smells a little bit like ammonia. Could just be me, but they're supposed to be a water-based thing, so you know, if they start drying out, you add water to them. If they get too dried out, it's too far. But so that means that you can freeze them, and they will freeze pretty solid. I mean, this guy was pretty solid, and he was only in the freezer for like an hour and a half. It might have been 2 hours. I set a timer to be 1 hour for the minimum, and then I went and I had lunch and I got distracted, and it was a little bit longer than that, so I think it was an hour and a half, but I'm not sure. But that seemed, I mean, it worked really, really well. But by the time I got from my kitchen, which is just exactly below where I'm sitting, to the other side of the house and back to this side of the house, they had already started to thaw a little bit. So I had taken out the big one first, and then I started taking out all the little ones, and I'm really happy that I got these out before they started to really, really thaw, because this little guy, this little dude that's waving, he's a little, he could be a little dude or he could be a little alien. He came with a little alien invasion set. You remember this guy? But yeah, his arm almost didn't come out because he was already thawing. But I was able to get him out before he was completely thawed, so that was good. So yeah, it works. I highly recommend it. It would probably work with other style air dry clays as well. I don't know if it would work so well with polymer clay. We should try that. Maybe we'll try that one next week. You want to see that? I'll do the exact same thing, but next week I'll do it with polymer clay. I like that idea. Let's get right into it. So, with all that being said and done, if you want to use molds, silicone molds, because you're gonna want to be able to, you know, something has to give. And if it isn't this, then it's got to be this. So, freeze them, or put them in molds, fill up your molds, and you can do it a couple different ways. You'll see that I smooshed it in and then was like brushing off the excess, or I would put in little tiny pieces in little tiny spots and smoosh them in really good. Both seem to work really, really well. The recommendation from one of the Airdry clays, I don't remember which one, I watched a video. I know, right? I was prepared. Said that the better preferred method is to put in the little tiny pieces, especially if there's a lot of detail like this. But if there's a real big flat spot like this one, you're not going to want to do that, because then you're going to be able to see the wrinkles. And you don't want to see the wrinkles unless you can really massage them out. But yeah, like this one accidentally touched something after I took it out of the mold. So, whoops, that one's kind of all smooshed up now. But yeah, they work, and I'm rambling. So with all that being said and done, until next week, stay safe. Hi, Miss Abcat. You gonna come visit? Hello. Look, it's a Miss Abby cat. Look, show them your pretty face. Sniff it. Oh. She's just driving by, going from my window to my door.